Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rolene Marks, your host, bringing you the top stories from Israel and surrounds every Monday to Thursday on this very platform, and also on YouTube, where you can find us at the Israel Brief. And if you haven't already and want your daily news update, all you need to do is click on the big red subscribe button. So let's dive into those top stories, and we have a big story to start the week off, and that is the assassination of Iran's chief nuclear scientist, Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. He was killed on Friday night, and despite widespread speculation whether or not Israel is involved in this, there has been no confirmation or denial from Jerusalem, despite some officials speaking to journalists and commenting on the assassination. Now, Iran have sworn reprisals and have said at the funeral of Fakhrizadeh earlier today that they want to have revenge on the state of Israel with widespread or heavy human casualties. Now, some have speculated and have not ruled out American involvement in this. Some say that as the Trump administration nears its end, this could be a final push from his side. One thing Israel has done, it has beefed up security at embassies and consulates around the world, as well as at Jewish institutions. And the Iranians are claiming that this was carried out by a robot controlled by a satellite, and have accused Israel of being the arms that made this happen. One thing is for certain, we will be following this story and any possible reprisals very, very closely. There have been elements within the Iranian government who've called for an attack on Israel's northern city of Haifa, but the IDF and the Israeli security apparatus continue to be on alert. And Aviv Kochavi, the IDF chief of staff, remarking yesterday that we will continue to protect our borders and we will continue to push back any kind of Iranian hegemony through Syria onto Israeli sovereign territory. Turning now to Saudi Arabia, and as the Trump administration ends its time in the White House, Special Advisor on the Middle East, Jared Kushner, has jetted off to Saudi Arabia to meet with the Crown Prince in the city of Neom, which is where Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, reported to have met the King of Saudi Arabia as well. Now, the King of Saudi Arabia, or at least the Saudis, have said that they don't expect any normalization with the state of Israel until perhaps the king has passed away. However, this could be a last-time push by Kushner in the region to push for more countries to normalize ties with the Jewish state. And in other news, the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and Israeli water technological company Watergen have signed a deal. Watergen is an extraordinary product. It literally creates water out of thin air, which is very, very useful in a region like this, where water is a shortfall and where we are a desert climate. Meanwhile, some Bahrainis have said that they are fearful about going onto the Temple Mount to visit the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque. They fear being harassed by Palestinians, and they fear that Palestinian authorities won't keep them safe. I do know that the city of Jerusalem is doing everything in its power to make sure that our new friends from the Bahrain, from the United Arab Emirates, feel safe in visiting their holy sites when they visit Israel. And last week, we welcomed our first official commercial flight full of tourists from the UAE, and long may this continue. And our final story for the day stays in the Middle East and also in North Africa. Today, we commemorate the nearly 1 million Jews that were expelled out of their lands in Arab countries and North Africa, including countries like Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, and various others. After the State of Israel was formally founded in 1948, Arab leaders took away the property of the Jews that resided in their countries for thousands of years and were part of the citizenship of those countries. They were harassed, many of them were tortured, many of them were ethnically cleansed, and expelled from these countries where they had stayed in for generations. I can just comment that in Israel we have over 1 million descendants who came from Morocco. And this is a story that's not often spoken about. Yesterday marked the anniversary of the vote on the UN partition plan to divide what was then British Mandate Palestine into two countries, one for the Arabs and one for the Jews. And while the Jews accepted and the modern state of Israel was born, the Arabs refused and decided to declare war on the fledgling Jewish state. And in response to this, Arab leaders forced Jewish populations out of their country. And today we commemorate them, and we have posted something on our Facebook page, and we really urge you to visit it, to learn the story, and also to share the content. It is not a story that is often spoken about until now. So those are our top stories making headlines. Don't forget that you can check out our original content on our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our latest newsletter is up there, as well as a very interesting article which will be posted later from Lithuania. It has been translated from Lithuanian into English for everybody to read. It will also be up on our Facebook page. And don't forget to visit to hear Hillel Neuer from UN Watch's extraordinary speech addressing these countries about where their Jewish populations are. While you are there, give us a like, give us a follow, share our content. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube at The Israel Brief, and also interact with us on Twitter. You can find us at Lay of the Land 5. That's Lay of the Land with the digit 5. So with the Monday edition of the Israel Brief and of Lay of the Land, I'm Rolene Marks, wishing you all a safe, a healthy rest of your day, and we'll chat again tomorrow.